Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Swing Shift Trades. My name is Matt and I've been trading for about 4.5 years, coming from a background of zero knowledge up to being a profitable trader. And the whole goal of this channel is to get you up and running to be a competent trader as quickly as possible. So, as any experienced trader will tell you, one of the most important parts of becoming a successful trader is to have structure. If you don't have structure, it's really difficult to be consistent. And if you're not consistent, the chances of you ever being profitable are really slim. Trading is hard and the stats are not very comforting. If you're new to trading, 90% of traders lose money over time. And the reasons for that are many, which we'll go into another time. But a big part of being a profitable trader is having structure so that you can repeat everything again and again and again. So in this video today, what I hope to do is take you through my routine, my Monday morning routine before the markets opened. So I'm based in the UK, but I trade the American markets, the stock market. And before those markets open, I do all my preparation. So that's religiously. So on Monday morning, before the markets open, I come to my computer and I get everything ready. So if you do this often enough, it becomes routine and it actually becomes really relaxing. So one of the best parts about the weekend, I find, is looking forward to the Monday markets opening because I'm prepared. So in this quick video today, I'll take you through my pre-market routine. So that's how I set up all my screens, and then we'll go through the stocks, transfer them to the watch list so that we're ready. We're ready for action. First, let me grab my camera so that I can show you my setup. This is my workstation setup. So I've got a 3-screen setup here. Do you need 3 screens? No, you don't need 3 screens at all. But because I'm at this every day during the week, I like to set it up how I like it. So I do use 3 screens when I'm at home. But if I'm out and about, I will quite happily work off just 1 screen. So I've got one which just shows my base chart here. Then I've got my stock screen. So this is where I will screen all the stocks. And then I'll also have a heat map. So when the market opens, this will just give me an indication of how the overall market's doing. So obviously, if it's a bad day in the markets, this will be all red. So it just gives you an overview of the feel of the market sentiment. So another thing I will do to keep you in the right frame of mind is to put some ambient trading music on. And of course, you have to have the obligatory coffee. Every Monday, that is the routine. Ambient music, coffee, and a good workstation setup. So now it's time to actually get busy, do some work, and choose some stocks. Right, let's hop over to the charts. So anyone who follows this will have seen this before. This is my base chart. So I am a swing trader, work over longer time frame. You can see here, there's the 4-hour chart that I'm working on at the moment. I've got a stock up here already, AEI, and I've got a couple of indicators open, which is MACD and RSI. I'll be doing a separate video about these indicators in another video, but this is my base chart setup. If any of you want to know a bit more about how I set up this chart, I've done some previous videos about my strategy. If you haven't seen those, just take a look back and you might find those useful. I normally spend about half an hour going through all these stocks to find ones that I'm interested in. So that's every Monday, religiously. It's a routine. I sit down and I actually really look forward to it. And once you get that routine, it adds to your overall structure. So it's really useful to get ready before the markets open. And one of the great things about swing trading over these longer periods of time is that you don't have to be on your computer all the time. So after you've got a couple of trades going, then you can just check back in periodically and set some alerts, and you can get on with your life and check back. So what have we actually got here? This is my base chart. I'll just open my watch list here. So I've got 2 on there at the moment from a previous search. So it's Monday morning right now. I'm late to the market because I was setting up all this video equipment, so I'm behind. But it doesn't matter. One of the great things about swing trading is I am on the 4 hour chart, so I've still got time to set up everything. So I'm going to take you through that process. The next thing I do is I will open up the stock heat map. So this is another tab. I will just open this and just have a look at the overall sentiment of the market. Now, if I open this, it's set on the S&P 500 index. So not necessarily any shares that I pick, but it just gives you an overall view of the market sentiment. So we've got this split into different sectors. It's automatic when you choose this. You've got electronics, technology. So if I was greeted with a sea of red, it was a bad day on the markets, the sentiment was bad, I'll be a lot more cautious about taking any trade. At the moment, this looks pretty neutral. There's some that have gone up, some of the big ones, and there are also some losers here across different sectors. So that wouldn't stop me from trading. The next thing I do is I would go over to the stock screener. Again, if you want a bit more detail of how to use the TradingView software, I've done a separate video of that. So please go back and watch those. But this is the other stock screener tab. So I've talked through this before, but really the stocks that I'm interested in are $2 to $6. And the reason is because I want to buy more of them. And what I'm really looking for is this change over a 1 week period, at least 10% drop in value, hopefully more of a drop in value. And why do I do that? That is because I am a swing trader and I buy at the dip, hoping to buy it before it goes long. So I buy long. There's some reasons that I do that, and it's because I trade in a tax-free vehicle called an ISA. So you can only really trade long. But there are so many stocks out there. There's plenty to choose from. So we're all good to go. We got a coffee. We might have some ambient music on, and we can relax and go through these stocks and see which ones are interest. So don't forget, I've got my watch list open here. I've just pressed refresh, and really I'm looking at this performance in a week. So I'll just make sure that's sorting ascending. So we've got some stocks that have dropped 40%, and I usually go down all the way to about 20% on a good week. So I tend to focus my efforts down to about those stocks that have dropped 20%. Just a caveat here, in some weeks you might not get any stocks that have dropped that much, and sometimes you will get many. So just a ballpark figure. The whole idea here is to pick out stocks of interest, transfer them to your watch list. That is my religious morning routine. Never takes more than half an hour. I actually look forward to it. So anyone who watches these will know the process. Now I go through each individual one. So this stock's 340 US dollars. So right click, open the super chart and see if it's of interest. Again, as a reminder, I'm looking for these smooth oscillations up and down. This one is not really giving me that at the moment. There are some oscillations, but it's not consistent. So this will not go on my watch list. I will close it and go back to the screener. Right, next on the list, NVVE. Let's have a look. Right click, two super charts. One thing we always do, by the way, is get rid of any noise. So for your initial screening, get rid of your indicators. You just want to get used to looking at the charts. So there are some oscillations here, seems to be on a downward trend, but it doesn't really give me warm feelings because, again, there's not much structure to this. So I will not choose this stock. JL, let's have a look at this. On we go. Just a note while we're doing this, once you become experienced, it takes you literally seconds to identify a stock of choice. So here we've got this one. This is, again, got an area of support here. So it looks like there has been a previous area of support here. This might well drop down to this area, and I'll be looking for a long position going up. So in an initial screen, there's enough sort of structure here for me to say this is possible. Not an A grade, but it might drop down to this area of support and then rebound. So I will put this provisionally on my watch list. Again, we'll close. Takes you back to the stock screener. We'll mark it up and add it to watch list. And there it appears over here. And this will be synchronized across all your charts and screens. What a great piece of software. I'm not sponsored by TradingView, by the way. So we go and we keep going down. I'll do one more for you just so that you get used to this. What have we got here? So zooming in, seems to be a downward trend, but very loose. There's a lot of choppiness to this in the candles. And again, you've got these massive moves that are very difficult to catch. So there's not enough structure in this chart for me. So I will definitely not be adding this to the watch list. So for the sake of efficiency, I will carry on doing this and just show you what I found at the end on my watch list. So bear with me a moment and I'll get right back to you. Yeah, this one's caught my interest. Wrap here, 4-hour chart. And you can see, look at these oscillations. Up, down. So there seems to be some structure here and an area of support down here where it's bounced a couple of times. So many people ask, how do you identify those areas of support and resistance? Again, look at one of my previous videos where I've gone over in this a bit more detail, but here the area of support would be around here. So rectangle tool here, just mark it up. Doesn't have to be precise because the markets are not precise, but it would be around here just to encompass this area. It could even be made a bit bigger. So I would expect this to come down, hit within here, and then rebound. So that is what I'd be looking for. And so this will go on my chart. And this is an area of resistance where it's bounced off the top, gone down, here, here again down, and here again down. So it's been respected quite a few times. So this is definitely a stock that I am interested in. The structure is there. So this is wrap. I'll close that. Go to the that takes you back to the stock screener and add that to my watch list. So you can see we're building up a nice number of stocks of interest. So I'll go through one more reject here. This is GRI. And when you first look at this, you might think, wow, this looks interesting because there's a big drop off recently. But again, when you look back historically, there doesn't seem anything to compare it of. There's not a true area of support, and it's been going down for a long time, and then it's just started ranging and dropping again. So in my eyes, this stock would be a real gamble, so I'm not really interested in this. So that one is going in the bin. Right, so just about finished here. I've gone all the way down from those that have dropped 40% in a week down to 20%. And from that, we have 7 stocks of interest. So this is pre-screened. So the next thing we have to do is go through them in a bit more detail to see those that offer real interest. We're back to the base charts. So if I open this again, my watch list should all be there, updated and ready to look through in a bit more detail. So at this stage now, what I'll do is I'll bring my indicators back up. So I've got the MACD on the screen and the RSI. So again, if you're a beginner, you won't know exactly what these are. I will do a separate video on these. So please be a bit patient. All they do is they're very simple momentum-based indicators to help me guide my exits and entries. But the most important thing is that nothing is a substitute for you spending time on the chart, getting used to this price action up and down. So that is what you have to get used to and build experience. So just to repeat that trading is very risky. So before you even consider using real money, please spend at least a couple of months, some would say up to 6 months, training with paper money on a paper account. Again, another video in the past if you want to know how to do that. So go back and check that if you want to know how to use a paper account. Once we've got our watch list up here, nicely populated, we go through them in more detail. So let's start from the top. The first stock here, what I can see is there has been an uptrend and now it's on a downtrend. And I'm hoping when it hits this area of support, it will go back up. So what's happening here is I'm really looking at this crossover in the momentum indicators here. So in the MACD and RSI, it hasn't quite happened, but that's my criteria to help me along the way in an entry. So I will wait until an alarm goes off. So what I will do here is set up an alarm on the MACD for the crossover. So how do I do that? So there's the MACD. Press there and you can see this is a left click, add alert. And we want a falling to rising. So when it comes back up and the message, there will be the stock and then MACD, just to remind me that it's crossed. And create. And there you go. You have an alert. What have we got next? Yes, so this was already on my watch list, and you can see again, there are these areas of a support. Identifying areas of support, one way of doing it is looking at these areas and saying, is it obvious? If it's blindingly obvious that your granddad or your grandmother can see what an area of support and resistance is, then it's probably a good one to take. So, and this one, it's hit here, 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 here. So it's got a history. So if we're right, this might drop, come down at some point, and then rebound. So here I would set an alarm. I will keep an eye on this. This is a slow burner. Might take a week or more to come down. So I will move this actually to the bottom because I'm not in a rush. Obviously, I come back and check this every day. So there we have it. That is my Monday morning routine. So really now is a waiting game. I'm waiting for these alerts to go off. Then I will look back at the chart and keep an eye on the chart. And then I'll make my decision whether to actually press the buy button and take a trade. So the next video is going to be an important one. And that is, when do I actually press the buy button? What do I wait for all this to come together to make the decision? So we will do that in the next video. What needs to align? So don't miss that video. Come back and we'll go through that in detail. It's a big decision, so we have to try and get that right. So as always, thanks for watching. Do look out for the next Swing Shift Trades video. If you have any comments, by the way, do leave them down below and I'll try and address them. So once again, thanks for watching and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.